All living organisms require food for their survival, and the pollinating insects are not exceptional. Pollinators go in search of food, that is, pollen and nectar, and in turn they pollinate the flower. Some pollinators, like honeybees, live in colonies and store excess food in their hives, which they may use during the lean seasons. But many other pollinators do not store food and have to get food for their day-to-day survival. They can feed as long as they visit the flower and otherwise remain hungry. Thus, year-round food availability in the form of flowers with sufficient pollen and nectar is essential for the sustenance of pollinators. Unfortunately, most of the plants, especially the crops under large-scale cultivation, are highly seasonal and remain for a short duration in the field. So there is a need to manage the availability of flowers to provide food and conserve the pollinators.
Agricultural crops are grown in two different seasons, Kharif and Rabi. Among the Kharif crops, buckwheat and pigeon pea attract large number of insect pollinators, especially the leaf cutter bees. Tomato attracts various non-apis bee pollinators, whereas the cucurbits and brinjal, the bumblebees. Maize produce copious amount of pollen which are collected by the bees. Similarly, Rabi season crops like mustard and onion are more attractive to pollinators and provide pollen and nectar. Coriander also attracts pollinators like honeybees, non-apis bees and syrphids, and so as the carrot. All these crops are seasonal and available for a few months in a year. Thus, floral management throughout the year gains its importance in pollinator conservation. First of all, we need to know the availability of flowers in our field, especially of those which provides nectar and pollen to the pollinators. For this, a floral calendar has to be made.
This is a floral calendar of ICR-VPKS Havalbagh, wherein the flowers are depicted against the months to show their availability in a year. From this calendar, we can infer that flowers are available to the pollinators from January to August, except for the month of June. September to December is vacant, and thus is the lean season. During these lean seasons, we have to grow some nectar-providing plants to conserve the pollinators. Growing buckwheat during September-October is an age-old practice in northwestern Himalayas. This is a short-duration crop, but gives copious amount of nectar. Some alterations in sowing time of crops, for instance, shifting of mustard 10 to 15 days prior to usual time of sowing, can produce flowers during the last fortnight of December.
Some crops like radish are good pollen and nectar providing plant. When it is grown for seed production, at least somewhere near the sides or buds helps the pollinators to get their food. Growing mustard along with wheat is a normal practice in villages. This is a good companion crop model, and mustard attracts many pollinators. One such pollinator, syrphid, takes nectar and lays eggs near the aphid colonies infesting the mustard. Syrphid grubs are good biocontrol agents of aphids, not only in mustard but also in the wheat crop. Some wheat plants which are seen in the crop fields like oxalis, ageratum, bitins, etc. also provide food to the pollinators. The wheat plants grow in the bunds like white clover, produce the flowers with good amount of nectar throughout the year and thus attractive to the bees. The thistle plant growing in the corners and uncultivable lands are good host plant for bumblebees and honeybees. We can see large number of bumblebees and honeybees collecting nectar and pollen from thistles. Many shrubs like Principia, berberis, raspberry, pyracantha, wild rose, wild berries, lantana, etc. conserve pollinators by providing food during lean seasons. Shrubs like Legestromia also attract honeybees.
As we all know that trees like apple, pear and peach attract pollinating insects by providing both pollen and nectar. While trees like sappium, bottlebrush, willow, chestnut, asculus, rhododendron, jacaranda, etc. also support pollinators. Ligustrum is one such tree which produces numerous tiny flowers but full of nectar and attracts pollinators, especially during the lean season of May-June. Growing this plant will conserve the pollinators. Some ornamental palms also produce flowers during this lean season and provide both nectar and pollen and attract bees in large numbers. Ornamental plants like cornflower, Libionis, Dianthus, Rudbeckia, Cufia, Chrysanthemum, Poppy, Gaillardia, Larkspur, Calendula, California poppy, toadflax, etc. grown during winter season is good for pollinators. Cornflower attracts honeybees. Honeybees and Seratina bees are attracted to field marigold, calendula and crown daisy. Poppy attracts large number of bumblebees and honeybees, especially in the early morning hours. Bumblebees are especially attracted to larkspur because of its specialized floral structures. Amygdala bees search for lavender and linaria.
This is a leafcutter bee, Megachila species, which collects pollen under its abdomen by tapping on the florets. The treasure plant, Gazania species, can be grown all through the year except for the heavy rainfall time. It opens its beautiful flowers in bright sunshine hours but closes at cloudy and rainy times, maybe a mechanism to preserve its pollen and to present to the pollinating insects. Creepers like Campsis produce flowers during lean season of June-July and sustain pollinators. Summer season flowers like Cosmos, Sunflower, Tithonia, Zinnia, Aster, Coreopsis, Marigold, etc. are attractive to pollinators. An old saying is that as the ants are attracted to sugar, so as the bees to cosmos. Bees like to feast on the pollen and nectar of cosmos. Cosmos is very easy to grow and produces large number of flowers that can sustain pollinators. Sunflower is a crop with copious amount of nectar and pollen in which a large number of honeybees and bumblebees found foraging. Zinnia is a flowering plant with many colored flowers which attract pollinators. Balsams also have different shades of flowers and attract pollinators.
These flowering plants can be grown in flower beds and are on the sides of farm paths to sustain the pollinators. Flower beds in the farm paths give aesthetic look to the path, besides conserving the pollinator and make them available in the farm. Friends, pollinators provides us food from time immemorial. Because of many reasons like dwindling of forests and natural habitat, climate change, etc., their survival is under threat. Now it is the time for us to feed them and conserve them for our future. Do you know every third bite we eat is from an insect pollinated plant? Almost all the fruits and vegetables which add taste and nutritive value to the human diet is from insect pollinated plants. If the bees disappear from the earth's surface, man would have no more than 4 years to live. No bees, no more pollination, no more plants, no more animals, and of course, no more man. Can we imagine a world without flowers and fruits, even the coffee and the chocolate? Save pollinators.